The altcoin market, as we should all know, has been on a massive tear recently, with altcoins like Solana and Chainlink moving up 2-3x, pouring in many billions of dollars, previously rejecting many of what people thought was not to be seen until the bull run, okay, right into the crux of 2025. But of course, as we all know, there are some massive bullish features that are coming up very soon that is going to be massively beneficial for the altcoin market. And today I want to talk about the next big move for some of these altcoins and primarily touch on some concerns you've all had for these altcoins as well. These are the ones I'm looking at for the next big moves, right? So we're going to talk about them today. But first of all, I want to tell you all, if you do like the video at any point, do not forget to hit the like button and really do share it if you do enjoy it. So what I want to take your attention to first of all is this chart right here. Now, of course, the catalyst for most of the movement we've been seeing over here for the altcoin market and crypto in general is the Bitcoin spot ETFs, primarily the BlackRock one that was proposed, the iShares over here. But we have about 13 pending right now, and it looks to be the SEC might be prolonging this and mass accepting them all on around January 10th, right? James over here points this out. They rejected over here Franklin's ETF quite early, and they're likely to, deny Hashdex closer to that date to push them all again to be approved on the same-ish date, which is going to be extremely bullish. This comes before the halving, so you pair this with the halving in about April 20th of next year, and it's going to be nothing but green days from here. But of course, we want to be buying altcoins that have yet to have these 3, 4, 5x multiples, because why do we want to buy it in inflated prices for? We've gone from maybe getting a 30 to 40x down to like a 5x. That ain't good enough, not in crypto. So we're here looking for the bigger multiples, and I'm going to touch on some of these altcoins today. Now, again, these 3 altcoins I'm going to primarily focus on are actually ones that you've all reached out to me, whether it's been the multitude of subscribers on Twitter and also my YouTube comments on live streams maybe. I've actually had a family and a couple of friends tell me about one of these altcoins as well, and they're quite concerned about it not moving. And we'll start off here with Quant. Now, I'm not a technical analysis by any stretch. I'm getting more and more into this, so don't look at these lines as any indication of where price might move to next. Of course, we have the bullish and bearish triangles, but I mainly want to take your attention to what QNT's been looking like over the last basically 12 months, right? So back at the start of essentially this year, it was definitely up, right? It was way up all the way over here, and we've seen pretty much nothing but sideways since. Yes, it's come down and come up, but nevertheless, take the average, it's about $100, okay? So of course, you're all concerned. Why hasn't Quant pumped and the other altcoins I'm holding have pumped up minimum 50%? Okay, we'll touch on more on the reason why. Another one you might be holding would be Kadena, right? KDA, this is a proof of work network layer one as well that I know a lot of you really got into from the last bull run. It really spiked up out of the blue. And while this one has pumped up a little bit more than Quant recently, right? I believe it's moved up about 60%, 50%, which is still a good move. A lot of you are still thinking to yourselves, well, why hasn't it moved up more? It's a micro cap, it's a lower cap project, it should have been, a couple X by now. Okay, that's another one we're going to talk about as well. And also Casper with a C, not a K, Casper with a C today. As you can see here, it's pretty much been a stable coin just like Quant as well. The moves up has been parried with the move down as well, so mainly around 3 cents, okay? So this is a cause for concern for many people, but before I get into the information, I want to just reflect back on where we are in the current cycle. Guys, if we looked back in 2021, as of right now, we are the equivalent of 2019. So if the peak happened in 2021 and the halving happened in May 2020, again, we're in 2019, guys. So we have a lot of time left for the market to develop, mature, and for these altcoins to come out with important information that will get them to where they need to be. You need to think about it for a second. Why are you so concerned with the project performing well now? Green price is instinctively a part of our DNA, an indication of good, all right? And red equals bad, or at least sideways is bad in this case, right? I want you to really stress, if you have researched the projects, if you have the conviction in them, and you know what you're investing in, you shouldn't be concerned with what it might do this week or the next month. It's again 2 years, minimum 12 months away, right? You have to have this long-term outlook, especially if you know what you're getting yourself into when you buy it, okay? So look at Cardano over here. This is where we actually are right now. This blue line represents where we are back in 2019, okay? We have a long way to still go. And right here, the market cap for Cardano was 950 million. So it was not a small cap project by any stretch. And as a matter of fact, back then, being a $1 billion project was actually like the equivalent of a multi-billion-dollar project today. course, we have more money in the market. So Cardano was definitely a big girl back then, right? It was definitely a big project. So that's no denying it. But of course, if we kind of like scroll back here for a second, you know, if you were all the way back over here holding since where we've been holding it now the last 12 months for back then, you know, basically it was moving sideways. Yeah, it would go from about 3 cents to 6 cents, back down again. You would be kind of upset about it, right? You would have held through this and you'd be like, well, what am I, you know, ADA, what's happening with this damn thing? The biggest pump it's had so far is about a 2.5x, and it came back down. What's the go? Okay, and again, it's very frustrating to be on that level, just like again we were with Casper, Cardano, and Quant. Definitely Quant and Casper out of those three. This might go for the altcoin you're holding as well. Obviously, I can't throw up 100 altcoins on this list, but I want to tell you what happened next. Obviously, COVID happened, brought the price down, but then when the bull market transpired, yeah, you know, these prices over here still weren't the best, definitely was performing. Well, again, we scroll all the way out to the bull run, and guess what? It 92x'd from that point. But again, you look at the chart right here, you look how much it's gone up, and you look at where we were back in the equivalent of 2019. Just a little minuscule dot. So this is just some perspective on what we're holding here, okay? This area, this trading zones, these are going to be nothing but a little blip in the massive grand scheme of things. Now, I can't, you know, speak on behalf of Cardano here. I haven't done my research. I know it's a quality project. They're making some moves. I definitely have more research on my belt under Casper and Quant, so I mainly speak to them in this case. You have to remember, this is going to take time. We're not looking for next week, you know, we're not traders here. We're not playing this micro time frame. We're not in the 15-minute time frame over here, the 3 minutes and snorting coke off, you know, the table and trying to figure out what's happening next. Playing it slow, methodical. We can even use the 1 month charts here to look at things, okay? 12 months is the time frame. So again, we look at the, you know, the macro market here, the crypto as a whole, and it's going to surprise you to think that, guys, from back here, when altcoins originally started to pump in October, we have only moved up 47%, 48% technically, okay? Not much at all. And if we look at where we're going to go in the future, again, this is the general consensus from most people in this space, we're going to see not a 3 trillion market cap, this is the old market cap from the all-time high over here back in 2021. No. We're going to see a minimum 5 trillion. That's at least what everyone thinks. That's a 230% gain from where we are now. To 2.5x, guys. Actually, to 3.5x. All right. And if we come back all the way to where we might go max, well, that's about a 5 or a 6.5x. So we've got a long way to go here, people. And I want to say that's talking about trillions of dollars. And we're concerned with our favorite projects going up in the billions, which is a small fraction of a trillion, okay? 1 billion is 1,000 of a trillion. Big difference. So just get that in perspective, okay? That's like saying $1 into $1,000, okay? So I want to touch here on Quant particularly because this is definitely the big part of concern a lot of people have had. Again, this is where most of the community has reached out to me. And I want to just show you something that I've been looking at more and more recently here, which is just putting some numbers on different market cap levels as we go up the stack, right? We have Quant over here, and the last, you know, the peak basically of its dominance was 0.25%. That essentially says at that given time over here, Quant had 0.25% of the entire global crypto market cap's overall market cap. So if that was, of course, you know, 1 trillion, that'd be 0.25%, whatever that works out to be. I think that might be like 2.5 billion or something like that, okay? So that's what it essentially means. Now, right now, we are about 0.082%, which is actually a 4.5x from the last bear to this bear, all right? So it's definitely improved, which means essentially Quant's become more of a name. If it fell right through, if it went back down to this same market dominance level, that tells me people gained interest because of a certain reason, maybe because of, you know, an awesome marketing campaign, and they lost interest just as quickly as it's come down again, but Quant's held its own. Quant's definitely stacked up, right? And so what we can do in this case is, again, remember, this number right here, this percentage, is a percentage of the global market cap. So what we can do is look back at ADA, for example. ADA, again, went up that 92x in the same time period, essentially from now all the way over to the top of the bull run. Well, if we can essentially look at Quant and think to ourselves, if Quant does a quarter of that, so it does a 92x or 100x, let's just say to keep things easy, if it doesn't 100x, what happens if it does a quarter of that? So 25 billion market cap. What does that look like? What percentage do we have to get at these times for that to happen? Well, The answer's going to surprise you, right? At these different levels, 5 trillion, 6 trillion, 7 trillion, 8 trillion, 9 trillion, 10 trillion global market cap, right? Quant would have to be to reach a 25 billion market cap, this percentage at each of those levels. So right from 0.5% right up to 0.25%, which means if we go up to a market cap, I think it's probably reasonable in this case, about 6 to 7 trillion, let's just say 7 trillion. If we look at a 25x our money from today for Quant would have to reach a 0.36% market dominance. Now, I think that's definitely possible. Right? That is basically just outperforming what it did in the last cycle from a lot less. Again, it went from way back down here and then with 4.5x average higher. So I think, and that basically 10x, right? 11x, I think, technically speaking, right? So if we go from this and 11x, we're getting a lot more. We actually probably will, over here, reach our target at a 5 trillion global market cap. So does that make sense? So essentially at a $5 trillion market cap, we will actually exceed our target of 25xing from today's price. So again, this is just simple maths and putting numbers on prices, but people don't do this because you have to actually sit down and crunch the numbers and think about it critically for a bit, okay? But that's what I'm here for. And I just want to say, guys, Quant could go sideways, Casper could go sideways, Cadena could go sideways for the next 12 months. It doesn't matter. More of an accumulation for me, if you're putting your hard-earned money into that project, if you have done your research like you should have, which by the way, I want to say, if you haven't, this website right here is a fantastic use of what you can do. It's not sponsored. I'm just saying right now, Crypto EQ, you have all these developer reports and stuff. You have literally breakdowns of the strengths and weaknesses of a project. You have things like the tech, economics, governance, vulnerabilities, team, user experience, roadmap, all broken down, even better than what I could articulate to you all, guys. Okay, and you can go through all these projects right here, have a look at them yourself, see which ones have had reports, and do your own research. This is essentially all you need to know. This is done by professionals, okay? Now, it is free, but you will have to pay for the exclusive access, right? And so you can do that research, but if you've done that, right, you're putting your money in something, well, lower prices, moving sideways is better for you, you know, because that means you can accumulate more. It's as simple as that. Get this idea of green is good. Green's good in the bull run. That's when we make our money. But right now, we are so far off, guys. Again, back to ADA. We are down here. We're ages away. Okay, so don't stress it. Now, I hear some of you thinking to yourselves, you know, I've heard it all the time. Well, Kyron, these are old projects. These had a bull run. They're not going to reach their all-time high again because they were around the last bull cycle. People lose interest in the project. Well, market dominance is a good way to assess that. If the market dominance, the social engagements are lacking and falling off a cliff, and they're like worse, if not the same as the last bull run or bear market, then maybe you're correct. But in this case, it doesn't always work that way. People say all the time, I saw on some guy's live stream the other day, some sort of, he was a Casper bull, right? He was saying all these projects aren't going to hit their all-time high again because they hit their all-time high in the last bull run and people are going to lose interest. Well, look at this. ADA, for example, right? Launched in 2017, 3x its all-time high. Dogecoin, right? It looks such a little blip because it's 61x its all-time high, right? It's a little blip, but it's been around since 2014, right? So again, this looks so insignificant. If you were to zoom in, it would be quite insane. But of course, it way outperformed that. Now, XLM, yes, it dropped 31% from its last all-time high in 2018. That was just because of the lawsuit with XRP. If that lawsuit wasn't out, believe you me, it would have definitely exceeded that. And that's why I think it will exceed it in this bull run, if the lawsuit is done and dusted. Or Filecoin, 7x all-time high. Now, this is just cherry picking here. There's many of these instances out there. So that don't look at Quant, don't look at, Cadena, don't look at Casper and think to yourself, well, it had a bull run, it's not moving now, it must be a bad project. Doesn't work like that. What does kill old projects / prevent them from reaching all-time high is these things. If the meme or the unique idea of the project falls off because there's better competition, the competition is more amazing. Wow. Now, in Cadena's case, you could argue Casper may be part of that reason why. That could be a significant thing. Not in Quant's case. Not in Casper's case. No new developments and therefore no interactions. Okay, so if they're not actually growing, right? So if it kills the metrics, people go look at the metrics and go, oh, no developers, there's no people transacting. That might be a reason why as well. Not a really significant, but definitely a reason. Negative news that actually kills the evangelists in the community, right? So crypto, as you should all know, is very tribal. And if you kill off the loyal supporters, the evangelists, that would literally just, shove it down your throat. I mean, you got to buy Quant. If Quant killed those people, then yes, of course, there's going to be no community, no one to stand by the project. And also a lack of marketing, which could also fall back into any of these three other things as well. They don't market the project, no one's going to know about it. That is a very big thing. Crypto right now is speculation, so that's a very big thing. Also, I want to say I love GhostDaddy. He's a big quant, Maxi, of course, it's in his name. But of course, you listen to some people, you see him in the comments of YouTube videos, on Twitter, whatever. And I know he's joking here, by the way, before anyone else calls me out on this. I know he's joking. But if you read comments in general like this, right? So he posted a comment the other day saying, if you need a safe place to store your money with Guarantee It Won't Move by Casper, follow me for more financial advice. He's obviously joking. It's just a funny joke, but you will have people that aren't joking saying this sort of stuff that could influence your mindset. Cardano, this guy over here says, why is Cardano so cheap? Very weird. After a big update they announced, right? So just don't let them, get in your mind. If you've done your research and you follow these principles and you found the right project, then this is just accumulation phase, guys. It's a matter of time. With that being said, thank you all for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do not forget to hit the like button. It really helps me out. And until next time, talk to you all soon. Take care.